Hey guys, this is your boy Madara.
This is BC.
This is Kid Joe, and
Yo, it's Vanderball. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Billy.
Hello, this is Dugo.
My name's Akashi, guys.
What's going on, you fam? If you didn't hear, you're listening to the Rising Rush podcast, the greatest hub for all Legends news, breakdowns, and discussion.
Hey, how y'all doing? This is Glow, member of your host of the Rising Rush podcast. I'm joined here by Desla.
What's up?
And Obsto.
Yo.
And we're here to talk about the current/end of the GT campaign. The agenda for today's Rising Rush podcast is number 1, Ultimate Spirit Bomb Goku, who recently got his Zenkai, which people are a little iffy on. The new LF, Super Saiyan 3 Kid Goku, with the return of the final counter, mechanic we have not seen since, not Tapion, I want to say, what's his name, Magenta? I think Magenta was the last one. Either Magenta or Cell.
It was Cell.
Yeah, LF Cell. In addition, we also got Yellow Nova Shenron, and then we'll also finally talk about certain issues with the game that a lot of the community has been, talking about, whether it's content or certain actions and decisions that the devs have taken that we feel have not really aged as well since the past year. But we'll start off with Ultimate Spirit Bomb Goku. He got a Zenkai Awakening, which a lot of people have been a little iffy, a little 50-50 on. Desla, what do you think so far about him?
I definitely think on drop that it was fair to kind of say that he was just kind of middle of the road as far as his performance, because we didn't really have that full cohesive GT team yet that felt like really good. Because don't get me wrong, the Tag 4s were great with their plat, but once they were taking off A boost, you could definitely feel a difference with their damage for sure in terms of how they performed. And it was definitely a matter of where we need that like last premium drop that we're going to give the campaign to kind of tie the bow together as far as the intended GT core. And I'll get into my thoughts more with Riku later, but I definitely think that with his release, Bombku or USB has gotten a lot better as far as his general in-game performance. And I think that he flows really well with Vegeta and Riku, because he's meant to be the designated guy to sponge up hits and really be able to stall for a bit while you get your main heavy hitters back in to dish out the damage. And I think also that an underrated part of him is definitely the like last man for your enemy anyway on their team, like being able to just wipe their vanish and basically guarantee like a win. I think just overall, I'm a big fan of him as far as just how he's kind of, showing himself out with this premium drop we got with Riku.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's definitely pretty solid given what he has. There are certain aspects of him which I'm personally not a fan of. I know he currently only way he really gets buff removal, if I remember correctly, is Rising Rush and Ultimates, which is cool. But there are a lot of units out there that kind of have these special moves / blue cards that kind of just nuke. And I think it would have been nice to just, give him that buff removal on blue cards. But overall, I think with the current way GT set up, especially with LF Kid 3Ku and Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, I think he's good enough. Next, we have LF Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Kid Goku from the Baby Saga with the final counter. I'm not gonna lie, watching those reveals, that fake out did catch me a little off guard because I was expecting a revival into 4Ku. I was not expecting a final counter. I think that baited a lot of folks, but I don't hate it that he's a final counter. I don't hate that he's a final counter, but I also feel like they definitely have to be saving like the revival version of that. They'll probably make a standalone version and then save the revival like down the road. But so what do you think about him, since the last final counter unit that we had was Cell, since I was on your tag androids? How do you feel about 3Ku?
In terms of kit design, they're very similar, like him and Cell. But aside from that, I said this on Twitter, but I think this is one of the lamest picks they could have gone with. And yeah, everyone was expecting, oh my god, 4Ku, but no, they would not do a 4Ku like before Fest in a random monthly celebration. That's unrealistic, let's be honest. But they could have done so many other things. They could have done a transforming baby. They could have done transforming Sin to Omega. They could have done a fusing Super Saiyan, Super 17. They could have done Oob, which would have been cool. But a just Super Saiyan 3 Kid Coup that just tickles your balls with Super Saiyan 4, I think that was lame.
I initially was expecting an Oob/4Ku tag standby unit.
Yeah, that could be cool. That could be cool. I'm not gonna lie. But again, I don't expect to see Eddie Forku until a celebration because they're waiting for it. But as a
Kit-wise,
unit,
yeah.
kit wise, he's very good. Can do a lot of damage that not a lot of people are going to be expecting from him. And his final counter, while I don't think it hits as hard as Cell's, it can still hit as hard or hit hard.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, Cell's final counter. If you got that off on a green, their entire enemy team was fucking dead.
Yeah.
But I don't see that often with this 3Q.
For me personally, like I said, I think he's fun. I think he's a pretty cool unit. Um, there are like a lot of cool things I do like. I like the strike seal. I think is good. Um, blue card, like constantly giving you a new hand, and just having like so many ways to have just bonus crit rate and crit damage. Well, the main way thing of having like crit rate and crit damage if you're above 50 key, I think that's amazing. The green card seal is like kind of nuts. Getting just a time stop green card that gives you key, a card, reduces your arts cost, cover null, and sealing strike green cards and blue cards is just nuts. And his main ability is kind of cracked. 2 Dragon Balls take vanish, and like get rid of all the attribute upgrades and buff effects. Like that's either free blue card, a free rush, a free overdrive. Like that's nuts. Next we have on to the next one. We then have why this guy of all people got a Zenkai is beyond me, but Yellow Nova Shenron. Dessa, you want to start on this conundrum?
Sure, I'm not gonna really have any profound thoughts on it because what I have seen is just I'm really getting some flashbacks to Red Kale, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. You know, for the OGs in the audience, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, we're talking about one of those kind of stinkers for Zenkais for sure. Why we went with this guy as opposed to giving Green Omega a plat or even LF Baby a plat, I don't know, but they did it, and it's there. So it's really about it. I don't know. Just definitely one of the more underwhelming Zenkais we've ever gotten, period. I mean, people didn't have expectations going into this. Like, no one gives two shits about Nova, let's be honest for a second. So, whatever. But just, I don't know. One of those of many times where the dev team just continues to have home run options as far as capping out a celebration or, you know, having in between weeks actually be eventful, and they just drop the ball.
On to the big thing we're probably going to focus on, which I think everybody in the community has kind of been noticing, is Legends isn't exactly in a great spot. In all honesty, I'd say it's in a pretty, I want to say, bad spot. And for once, it's not necessarily because of the meta. I actually think the meta right now isn't too much of a problem. I think the meta is actually solid and it's, it's not bad. I think the community has just in general just lost faith in the devs, and I don't think any small thing is going to help. And then you have supporters, which is probably, in my opinion, one of the worst things the devs have released into the game since Zenkai's, and was not well thought out at all. But Dustin, what do you think about all the issues right now with Legends and everything going on?
So I think for me right now, that's definitely being a bit overblown in my opinion. And this is not going to be, you know, me trying to act as like, you know, some secret, like, you know, dev in disguise as far as like singing their praises or something like that. I'm going to be pretty neutral on this particular topic because at the end of the day, there have been points in time where I played this game and I've definitely treated it more seriously than I should. And At the current way that I view it now, I definitely think that I've kind of hit that sweet spot in a sense of where there really isn't a lot going on, I just do different shit. Like for me personally, I've been playing a lot of Silksong and other games in general, as far as just like occupying my time when I'm not working or in class or at my internship, whatever it may be, as far as my own personal obligations. That's what I'm usually doing to occupy time. And more often than not, the only time I'm really booting up Legends is to like kill time while I have a second in between wherever I'm going or whatever it may be. And that's just kind of it. And I think that's a big thing that people kind of need to grasp as far as any grievances they could have with this game, where at the end of the day, it's a mobile game.
Yeah.
And, there are other things in life besides Dragon Ball Legends. I'm
Obviously.
sure it's a shocking revelation to some people, but I mean, the fact that I have to say it says a lot.
Lie though, that one person who tweeted about like killing the devs, you're OD, bro. That shit
No,
is
I
so
mean, there's
uncomfortable.
always going to be out of pocket people, man. That's never going to
Yeah.
change. But I think more of my point is just like I don't know. People really just get I don't know, like almost personally offended when the devs are be doing stuff and like it doesn't really jive with them. I'm like, dude, at the end of the day, y'all ain't the content creators for this game, man. Where it's your job to continually like pump out content for this shit. If you don't fuck with it, don't play.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure that people are tired of hearing that argument, whatever. But like, it's a game. The point of a game is to have fun. If you're not having fun, don't fucking play. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man.
People can give their opinions, obviously, because like,
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
especially if you put money into the game, you want to like, you know, you should be harshly critical of the game if you're a paying customer.
The big thing for me that I do fully respect people who want to share their opinions, concerns, and feedback, whatever. But I think people who feel as though they have to stick with this and try and ride things out, especially if they're paying players, are kind of experiencing a sunk cost fallacy where
Oh
they've
yeah,
already invested so much money and they have a hard time giving it up because it's money they're never getting back. That's
oh
just
yeah,
how it works.
for sure.
So, like, I think a big key thing for that is that the line we're like kind of riding with that is either we're being self-aware of the fact it's a game and despite the money I spent on it and whatever, that doesn't change the fact that my relationship with it is purely meant for entertainment and that's it. Where the other side of the coin is people who are almost a prisoner for the game and are basically feeling like they're like locked in and they can't escape anymore because of the amount of money they dropped on it. Where that at that point becomes a borderline addiction, pretty much, as far as just not being able to separate yourself from that piece of media. And for me, and the way I view it is just it's obviously going to take some introspection and looking inward as far as being able to actually see that about yourself, understand that you need to separate yourself from it because it's not doing anything beneficial for you. And at that point, you're in too deep for something that should be a pretty simple pleasure.
Yeah,
It's
like
it's a mobile game.
I don't think you should be spending money on this game that isn't
No,
expendable income. And even then, like brother,
I would just say not at
there's
all.
yeah, like there's definitely other things you can spend money on. It don't gotta be Legends. You can spend money on other things, bro. Like, come on now, what are we doing? Like, I think some people just it's an addiction. They just can't let go.
I mean, it's gambling, dude. Like it's inherently going to be addicting because I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say that I haven't been caught in the loop of where I'm trying to pull a character that I really fuck with, and then I just multi after multi after multi, I get fucking nothing. I'm just like, dude, I gotta pick up more packs to fucking get more CC to spend more on this fucking banner and hopefully get this character. Like, I get it. I fall in that trap, that loop. I empathize with people like that who are in that position of where they can't really escape that sort of that gambling repetition. But at the same time, if it's getting to a point where you're dipping out of things or taking funds from different places where it's not expendable, and now you're getting to like things that are maybe like really should not be touched at all as far as your funds are concerned. Now you're really starting to affect your personal life because of this in a negative way. Then that's when you need to take a step back. Understand that again, you have a problem and you need to distance yourself from this and find different avenues to occupy your time with as far as entertainment is concerned. Because again, I will reiterate, and this is not meant to demean people or try and oversimplify the issue at hand, but this is a mobile video game on your phone. Like, it's not some big thing or whatever. And at the end of the day, I get why, but barring the gambling aspect for why we're all still playing this to this day after 7 years, it's Dragon Ball, right? I mean, like at the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. Where I can assure you that 90% of IPs that I fuck with outside Dragon Ball, if they were tied to this game instead and pulled half the shit that the devs have for this game with a different IP, I would have dropped this shit years ago. Are you fucking serious? Like,
Oh, with
dude,
ease,
no,
with fucking
I'm out.
ease.
See you later. But Dragon Ball has such a special place in my heart personally where it's almost in a way hard for me to be as critical and be a little more forgiving in regards to that aspect where I kind of just roll the punches and just keep on trucking, where my patience and tolerance are definitely higher than they would be for other things. And overall, just, I don't know, I kind of condensing all that to one brief thing. I don't really have an issue with where the game is at right now because this happens every time that we have lull periods in between major celebrations. The game just dips in terms of player base activity or whatever, and you kind of enter a bit of a boring spot. And if we're gonna be honest for a moment, this is a fuck ton better than the movies campaign last year. Let's not try
Oh
and
yeah.
bullshit a bullshitter.
Oh yeah.
So it could be a lot worse. Let's just fucking put that out there in the world. But overall, I mean, the only grievance that I really sympathize with as far as anyone bitching and moaning about the game right now is like supporters. And even then, my only critique really is about their implementation in the specific shop as far as leveling them up outside of summons. I think besides that, because if you have the context for how the stats work for affecting characters, it's more like arts boosting. It's not like just flat numbers, which a lot of people were afraid was the case.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a weight off people's shoulders for anxiety there. But I do fully empathize with the point that I think that they made leveling up supporters fucking insanely expensive, way more than it should have been as far as that shop actually buy levels for that character. It should have been like fucking 10 CC for one level, 50 for fucking five, in my personal opinion. That would have been a billion fucking times better, personally. But, it is what it is. And I think if they were to do that, then I really have no problem with the system besides that, because as we've seen now, I assume with different showcases, supporter abilities don't really proc often, like that much if at all during gameplay. Like people were afraid that, oh, this game would be just super fucking pay to win and it'd just be like, such a blatant advantage, but like they don't really happen that often, to be honest with you. And they're not as impactful as I would have initially anticipated. And I'm honestly okay with that because I was in the camp of where I don't really need this add to the game. Like, I, it sounded fine on paper at first, but I feel as though we already have enough to work with for a mobile game that I'm kind of good with where we are. Like I guess call me complacent, but I didn't really need supporters, and I especially don't need them after their implementation. And I would have no qualms with them pulling a Dokkan where they remove chain battle and just gutting supporters. I literally would not care.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just one of those things where if they tweak that one thing with the cost for leveling them to make it where it's way more affordable as far as buying levels for the supporters, then I really had no issue with it at all.
Yeah.
Period. So that's where I'm currently standing with all that. So yeah.
Now I get what you mean. Like I said, I even said this at the start. Like my issue with the game is not the meta. Like we have these down periods with the metas. Like that's nothing new. I don't really care about all that. My issue would always be right now more so like obviously I would have liked it's things that like my issue is more so, things we've always complained about. Get rid of the CC cap. Release more diverse things. stop fumbling certain things. Like there's no like to me there's no reason like obviously like I said before, I'm a paying customer and like at this point I don't really spend money on the game like that no more cuz like there's no point. Cuz like why would a unit like Metal Cooler and Kaioken Goku release not only in the same year but like basically back to back? Like that's crazy. Like am I crazy?
Oh yeah. No, I mean, dude, I fully sympathize. Like, Cooler is
Yep.
just an anomaly.
And it's not like this is like a reoccurring. It's like a not reoccurring thing. Super Vegeta into Super 17. Like that's a massive disparity. Both red units, and that's what happens. Like at some point, you just gotta be like, what is the play testing? Like, as someone who works in tech, like to me, like there's certain times I'll look at a unit, I'll just be like, yeah, I don't think these devs play test their units. I think
No.
they just come up with an idea, write down numbers, and then throw it at a wall. And they don't realize that, like, if you are, I personally think if you are anything worth a developer, you gotta play test your stuff. And I don't think you guys do. But, like, I think right now, the current meta isn't as bad as it is because, one, people kind of just don't want to play the game. And two, I mean, it's not as bad as people are saying. There's different things you can run and still find some success in PvP. I think there's just certain aspects, just like I said, CC cap, um, kind of supporters just being overall just shit. I'm gonna just be honest with you, shit and unnecessary. Sure, it's a good idea. It's a bold new idea, but your implementation of it is like horrible. Like this is as bad as like 20k CC for a Zenkai. Like levels of bad, at least to me. But I think, yeah, this I think the devs need to. Something I wish the devs did is I wish they would be more honest with the community. Like actually be more like stop. Like that's another thing too. I've seen how other devs are with their games, and even when the game is like not going great, at least they have like honest conversations with their community. I don't think Legends really does that. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. I just don't think that the Legends devs are honest. Am I crazy to say that?
No,
I
there's
don't
been
think you
numerous
are.
times where, like, this year, I mean, do I need to bring up the whole new design philosophy bullshit and then they just exempt ultras from that whole, like, idea?
Yeah.
Like, come on. No, they go back on their word multiple times.
It's almost ridiculous to me because it's like, what are we doing, gang? Like at some point, like you gotta like just tell us what it is. Like don't sugarcoat it. But I don't know. What about you, Opso? How do you feel about the current state of the game?
So a lot of my thoughts have to do with the supporter system. And aside from that, like you said, I don't think the meta is in a terrible spot. Like people are blowing it out of proportion, saying, "Oh my God, this is as bad as FSK." No, no, the fuck it's
No, no,
not.
it's not. No, no, no. You're wilding. You're wilding if you think this is FSK, man.
Let's
Or
be
that's
honest.
worse than Daima.
Yeah, it's not worse
Oh,
than
oh
Dynamo.
God.
It's not
Yeah,
worse than
come on
Dynamo.
now.
No, this meta is fine in comparison to that. Could it be better? Sure, but this is fine. But going back to supporters, when it was first announced, I kept my thoughts to myself for the most part, but I was thinking that maybe they looked at like support items from Dokkan, and maybe they're thinking of a more interactive way to implement that into Legends. That could have been cool, right? Because in Dokkan they're essentially like like expendables in RPGs, like a potion or something that like buff your stats or heal you. Whereas in Legends, they could have done something really cool. And mechanically, they attempted to do that, where a character will come in after a set amount of time, or something happens in a fight, and they'll do something to help you. But the way that they implemented it, making it cost the same amount as Zenkai's were when they were first implemented, like 6 years ago, that is egregious. I'm actually thinking that this is as bad as when Zenkais were first implemented. I'm being honest when I say that. Like the sheer amount of cost that you have to dedicate to the system, especially for the first few months, because you're going to have at least 6 of them. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You have to have at least 6, or else you're fucked, because everyone's just going to have way better stats than you. Of course, like everyone was like talking about how the stats were going to be way worse than they actually are, but it's still like going to be you're still going to see a difference once you have all 6. Instead of costing any CC, what they should have done was just let us grind them out, like in Dokkan.
Yeah.
Like in Dokkan, you can get them from the Baba shop. In Dokkan, you can grind them out from certain events. It's not hard to get them in Dokkan.
Yeah.
Whereas here, they replaced 1% units for supporters, where 1% units can actually have direct impact on a fight, whereas fucking Dende will come in and do fucking nothing unless you have him at fucking level 99. Let's be honest, he's not doing anything.
Yeah, he's not doing jack shit. Yeah, and even Yajirobe, yeah, that's great if you have a Frieza Force, but like, why you introduce like that's I think Yajirobe's design is what pisses me off more. Because Yajirobe is like, damn well Frieza is annoying and low-key a problem unit, and you make the solution to him pay to win.
Yep.
Like that is scummy. That's like, I'm talking like, bro, at that point you might as well just rob a granny. Like that's scummy.
Like, Billy came out with a tweet a few days ago, and I kind of agree with him, where they should just redact all the CC everyone spent on supporters in the shop and just figure out a new way to implement this, because this is egregious. This is vehemently terrible.
Yeah.
This is up there for me as one of the worst updates this game has ever come out with.
And the fact that like they admitted that stronger supporters are gonna come out means like, okay, this is the bare minimum. For all we know, we could get supporters that basically nullify the opponent's rushes. Do you know how insane a supporter like that's gonna come out can exist? A supporter just says,
Imagine a supporter Zeno.
Oh God.
supporter Zeno that just KOs a character. Like, what are we doing? Like,
Oh my god.
Especially since that there's evidence showing that we might get different rarities of supporters that are going to be even harder to pull.
Yeah, nah. If that shit happens, I'll be right there with you guys and fully like join the bandwagon for this being fucking dog shit. Because
that's the point. Like,
ooh.
Everything they said about supporters just reads to me as like an excuse to make a new rarity and new types of units, and it just doesn't sit well with me. Every time, everything they've mentioned about support is just, this is more pay to win. This is more pay to win. Even Goresh made a tweet about it, saying that he said, in theory, supporters can be better. Like, they can be a great thing for this game. But he's also said that like the implementation right now is not the greatest, and there's certain things that like, if not kept in check, will just push this game to a level where like, yeah, you have to be pay to win. Like, not only will you have to summon for units, but then individually summon for supporters.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, if you like may tag or whatever, like it's just one of those things where I mean, when we have a full 6 that are in the game, then you are going to be at a massive disadvantage if you're skipping the banners that have the supporters on them. If you're trying to main tag that's not being buffed by the LF banners that have the supporters on them, it's just inherently how it's going to work. And my mentality personally, in terms of how I feel about it, is like, let's be honest for a second. This is fucking nothing new, right? This is just a more in your face way in terms of how they've always done things with the game, where they've always been like, in terms of how they've approached things, they've put a problem in the game and then they sell you a solution later.
Correct.
That's always how it is. And it's like, to your point of like, dropping a character that's meant to like kind of counteract like Frieza with Yajirobe when he gets to like, more levels and he's able to have a higher chance of like interrupting his combos. It's just, to me, like, I'm not going to sit in the camp of like, oh yeah, this shit's like fucking on par with the 2019 or excuse me, like the 2020 update as far as just being the worst fucking thing ever, because one, we don't have the full 6 yet, as far as the intended first full deck of these things. So we have no idea how they're all going to play out, like as far as options together. That's one. And then two, by the time that we get the full 6, maybe they change the cost of leveling them in the shop. Do I think they'll make them free to play grindable? Fuck no. Let's be honest for a second. The most you're getting out of that is like maybe like at 15, 20 levels for free. And then you have to buy the rest with the CC. If I'm being completely honest with you, that's how they did fucking Zenkais back when they first came out. They're gonna do the same shit for this. I would legitimately eat my own fucking foot on like live camera if they made the entire fucking 1 to 99 process grindable for free. I'm that confident they would not do that shit. No chance. So like that's kind of how I view it, and it's never been like a thing of where I'm gonna look at that in the same lens of 2020 because I'm sorry, dude, that update is untouchable for me. That is single-handedly the lowest point or the beginning of what I thought was like the end of this game. I'm being serious. Like 2020 to 2021 Fest, it is a fucking miracle we got out of that dark period, man. If people are complaining about now, again, it's all new gens, bro. You take it back to that fucking period of time, dude, they would have died. Like they could have handled that shit. There's no chance. That was when like real men were tested, dude. I'm sorry, but like
That was like
I don't
one
know.
of the worst times, bro.
It was the worst period of this game. No debate, no questions, no qualms, whatever. That was the single worst update this game's ever gotten, and that was the single worst period of time that we've ever seen this game, period. It will never be topped. God, I hope not. If they find a way to do that, then I'm probably out. I'm going to be honest with you because that requires a special kind of talent to pull that one off, but
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, because like, bro, I don't think I'm not saying right now this game. Well, first of all, I don't think the game is anywhere near end of service, right? Because there's people got to remember the vocal part. So what you hear about the community, us, other content creators, all that stuff. The reality is we're the minority. There are millions of people that play this game.
Mm-hmm.
We are only a fraction. An issue though is if the community of the game dies, at least the vocal part, at some point the main game is going to die. And I think the overall community over time for Legends has kind of died down. A lot of the content creators who were there for like the first 4 or 5 years, like they stuck for 5 years, and then some of them fell off the face of the earth and disappeared. Like Bebop quit the game and hasn't looked turned back. Rhyme has distanced himself from the game. Um, People might not remember some of these people. Swift, Tom, Prof, who was actually our first special guest. Like so many of these people have just put the game away because they're like the game has become a shell of its former self. Not that saying like the game is money wise in a bad situation, but like from what we know, the game has had a slow decline in money over the years. Still making millions, like it's still fucking good. It's millions, but like for what the game could have been, I don't know. It's just it does suck knowing what this game could have been. And I feel like they're really trying to like somehow have their cake and eat it too. Especially what they're doing this world championship stuff. They're trying to recapture that image, that like feeling of the first Las Vegas. But like I don't think
It's
they
never
really
happening.
can. It's never happened. Like
Never happening again. Letting the ball moment.
like what happened, what made that first Las Vegas event of that first year good was because people actually had hope for this game. And now people are just like, all right, it's another thing, get it over with, let's see what happens. Like there's nothing really ambitious about this game. It's like every release is a coin toss. It's like, is this release going to be good or is it bad? And is this release going to be instantly power crept or are they going to become a problem for the next half a year? Like that's the real issue with this game, I think, right now. I don't think it's necessarily the meta. People who are focusing on the meta aren't realizing the bigger picture. It's just management of the game as a whole just isn't great. And it doesn't help that like some of you guys do not have a healthy relationship with this game either.
No.
Some of y'all spend way too much money. Some of y'all don't manage your resources in this game well either. So I think that's it for me. Do you guys have any other closing comments?
I think more like just a way to kind of cap it off is in terms of the way that I think they could kind of get things back on track is really like focusing in terms of what brings people to the game, which it's not a hard answer, it's PvP. And really I've had this like point numerous times with different people like for personal conversations and all that, but just the key thing I think that would really help them out a lot is if just I'm gonna be honest with you, they get PvP the fuck out of the game, or PvE, I should say. Like just scrap it, get rid of it, doesn't need to be there. No one likes PvE content in Legends. Period. I would be hard pressed to find a single motherfucker on planet Earth who goes, "Yep, I play this game only for PvE. That's all I do it for. That's it."
Oh, there's people. They
So
exist. They exist, and some of them are
I'm
YouTubers.
yeah, well, they like to be different for the sake of being different. Anyway, so I think what it kind of just boils down to for me in terms of how I think we could really get this game in a better place is if we just completely abandon that and put the CC and a lot of dev time and resources into strictly PvP. And we get new PvP modes, new different ways to spice up ranked or just general like the gameplay as far as PvP, fighting against people, whatever, and just we find ways to keep it fresh and really just hone in the focus of the dev team on just that one thing that I'm sorry, but the game is known for PvP. That's how it is. You want to play PvE, go to fucking Dokkan. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I think that would help a lot. And it would really make it to where they're not so split or spread like, so far out as far as where they're putting their focus on. If they just condense it down to PvP itself, which is the main attractor for the game, I think that they could do a lot to really help rejuvenate it and kind of get it to a way better place to really keep people playing, even when it's not during like some major hype shit like Anniversary Fest. So if I were someone who was leading the dev team, that would be what I would be looking into right now because I'm sure we're not fucking stupid. I know they have numbers to look at to go ahead and compare like data as far as like active players during certain periods of time, whatever, and can see that I'm sure we're having a decline in player base as far as compared to like, different like in between periods between celebrations, comparing different years to right now. It's not a secret. Like I'm sure that, they have metrics for it that can kind of reference. But I think if I were to look at that and trying to figure out a way to make a solution happen, again, scrap PvE and put that focus and dev time into PvP and making it fun and engaging and bring new life in the game. It's just that simple. So that's what I would do.
I kind of agree. I think PV in this game is trash. Nobody
It's
enjoys it. It's not
ass.
fun. Um, it's just not fun. Like you might as well limit these Zenkai missions and like the CC we get from the Zenkais to just PvP missions. Like just do it like that. The only like even like what's it called? Ultra Space Time Rush. It's not fun. It's a chore. And half the time we don't want to do it. It's just not fun. Um Grinding equips is not fun. Like it's tedious. It's just not fun. What people want is people want the units. People want the units. People want to fight. When you try and monetize and have so many things in it that either make it tedious to have fun or have no correlation to what's fun, it's just dumb. Like I think you're right. I think that's honestly what the devs need to do. Like, there's so many things they could do. You could do normal PvP. You could do LBR mode PvP, kind of like what we had back then, where everybody was 14 stars. You can do Proud mode. They could even do some mode where everybody has one unit versus one unit, and it's basically like just a big 1v1. Everyone would like our units having boosted stats, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like,
And I mean, you can like have it to where all the rewards and content that we can get as far as like resources, whatever, that are currently locked behind PvE are in those different modes for PvP.
yeah,
And that would incentivize people to try out those different modes and actively play the game more because, again, the main attractor for the game is that PvP aspect.
yeah,
So If you just have it to where you allot that focus on that one part of it and really make that like your selling point, like to the extreme, then I don't really see how that fails you, especially when in nature, mobile games are meant to be simple.
Yeah, even look at Dokkan. Like the only form of Dokkan has, only form of PvP that Dokkan has is the World Tournament, and that's basically just PvE, and
It's
that's
just
it.
a time sink.
It's just
So
a
that's
time
it.
sink. Like Dokkan knows what makes their community tick, and they understand their community. There's a bit of, I won't say there's communication with their community, but I think Dokkan is good at reading their community. They're good at understanding this is what the community does like, this is what they don't like. We can work around that. Legends, I don't think the devs do what the community likes. I think they just do what they like. And then they just kind of just tell the community deal with it. So, so you got any final words?
I don't know. Like, I think I said everything that has to be said earlier, but the game just really isn't looking the best right now, and they can do so much to improve it. But they're just taking one step forward, two steps back every single time that they make a step. Like going back to the PvE stuff, I haven't even done USTR in honestly at least 3 years. It's not worth doing for someone like me that's not in a guild. I don't awaken equips all that often because I don't get equips all that often.
Yeah.
So it's not worth it for someone like me. And then like you have all these other modes that just do nothing. Like I haven't grinded up most free to play units that have come out within the last 2 to 3 years because they're not worth it and will probably never be worth it because it seems that they stopped Zenkaiing free to play units.
Anyways, that's the end of the podcast. We appreciate all you guys listening. Hopefully, next episode, we can hear about good things and good changes in this game. I've been Glow. This has been Obsto and Desla. We'll catch you guys later.